There's a hierarchy that controls life and death decisions on American streets. It determines who kicks down doors at 3 a.m. and who watches from the command center. Who makes $45,000 chasing armed suspects and who makes $150,000 sitting in City Hall. It's called the police rank structure. And the gap between the bottom and the top is so extreme that a rookie cop and the chief of police might as well be working different jobs. In 2020, a patrol officer in Minneapolis responding to a counterfeit $20 bill earned $48,000 a year. His chief, sitting in an office downtown, earned $195,000. The officer made a decision that killed George Floyd and ignited nationwide protests. The chief held press conferences. One faced the immediate consequences. One managed the political fallout. Both wore badges. Only one was on the street. Here's what most people don't understand about police ranks. The system splits at SWAT. Regular patrol follows a traditional hierarchy. SWAT operates as a specialized unit within that structure. A SWAT officer might be the same rank as a regular patrol officer, but undergoes months of additional training and faces situations that would make most cops quit. Same badge, different world. Let's break down every rank from the rookie who just graduated the academy to the chief, who commands thousands of officers and controls budgets exceeding $500 million. Patrol officer. You're everyone's target. You graduate from the police academy after 6 months of training. You're handed a gun, a badge, and a patrol car. You're expected to handle domestic violence, mental health crises, traffic stops that turn into shootouts, and situations that veterans with 20 years couldn't solve. You're 23 years old. You make $45,000, and if something goes wrong, you're the one trending on Twitter by morning. Here's what being a patrol officer actually means. You work nights, weekends, and holidays while everyone else celebrates. You respond to calls where someone's already been stabbed, shot, or beaten, and somehow you're supposed to fix it. You write traffic tickets to people making twice your salary who tell you they pay your salary while recording you for TikTok. But here's the part no one talks about. Patrol officers have the most dangerous job and the least backup. When a call comes in for shots fired, you're responding alone or with one partner. You don't get to wait for SWAT. You don't get to wait for a supervisor. You handle it right now with whatever training you absorbed in 6 months. The promotion timeline is brutal. You need 5 years of perfect performance to even be eligible for sergeant. Most officers spend their entire careers at this rank. They respond to the same types of calls for 25 years and retire having never promoted once. Same rank at year 1 as at year 25. Same pay scale. Same work. SWAT officer, same rank, different universe. SWAT officers are usually patrol officers or detectives who volunteer for SWAT and pass insane selection standards. You need 5 years on patrol first, then you apply. Most applicants fail. The ones who make it undergo 12 months of additional training while still working their regular assignments. Here's what SWAT selection looks like. Run obstacle courses in full tactical gear. Rappel from helicopters. Breach doors while under simulated fire. Qualify expert with every weapon system. Complete psychological evaluations to prove you won't freeze when someone's shooting at you. Pass continuous fitness tests that eliminate officers who can't maintain peak conditioning. SWAT operates on callouts. These officers work regular patrol shifts. When a high-risk situation emerges, barricaded suspect, active shooter, hostage situation, they get the call. Drop everything. Gear up. Deploy. They're the ones going through doors when someone inside has guns and nothing to lose. But here's the reality. Nobody mentions SWAT officers are still the same rank as regular patrol. A SWAT operator with 10 years of tactical experience has the same authority as a rookie who graduated last month. They make slightly more due to specialty pay, $5,000, $10,000 annually, but they're doing exponentially more dangerous work for marginally more money. And when something goes wrong, a raid on the wrong house, a suspect killed during entry, SWAT officers are the ones facing investigation. The command staff who approve the operation. Detective, you solve crimes after they happen. Detectives investigate crimes after patrol officers respond to them. Homicides, sexual assaults, burglaries, frauds. You work cases for weeks or months trying to identify suspects, gather evidence, and build prosecutable cases. You don't respond to 911 calls. You're supposed to be smarter than patrol officers, at least that's what detectives think. The path to detective requires 5 years on patrol, plus passing detective exams and interviews. Some departments promote by test scores. Others promote by politics and who you know. Most detectives are competent investigators. Some are officers who were terrible at patrol but had connections. Here's what detective work actually involves. You're given 15-20 active cases simultaneously. Most will never be solved because there's no evidence, no witnesses, and no leads. You focus on the solvable ones and hope the others don't blow up politically. When a case goes to trial, you spend days testifying while your other cases pile up. The TV version where detectives solve murders in 48 hours. Detectives have the same rank as patrol officers, but more autonomy. They set their own schedules, work cases independently, and rarely deal with supervisors. The trade-off? When a case goes unsolved and the victim's family demands answers, you're the face of failure. Sergeant, welcome to middle management hell. This is the first supervisory rank. Sergeants are responsible for everything their officers do. An officer under your command screws up. That's your problem. An officer makes a questionable shooting. You're writing reports and attending review boards. An officer gets caught falsifying paperwork. Your career is damaged too. Making sergeant requires 5 mighty years as an officer, passing written exams, oral boards, and assessment centers. You're competing against everyone at your rank. Only 20 to 30% of applicants make it. The rest stay patrol officers forever or leave the department. Here's what being a sergeant actually means. You respond to every high-risk call your officers take. Officer requesting backup? You're going. Pursuit in progress? You're following. Officer-involved shooting? You're managing the scene. You work longer hours than patrol for 20 to 30% more pay while being responsible for everything that happens on your watch. But here's the trap. Sergeants are middle management. Command staff blames you when officers mess up. Officers resent you for enforcing policies they hate. You're caught between upper management demanding metrics and officers who want to do police work. Most sergeants burn out within 10 years. The ones who survive either promote to lieutenant or become bitter veterans counting days to retirement. SWAT sergeants are even worse off. They lead tactical teams into high-risk situations. If the operation succeeds, command takes credit. The SWAT sergeant is blamed. Same middle management trap, but with bullets. Lieutenant, you're a bureaucrat who wears a badge. Lieutenants are shift commanders or unit supervisors. They oversee entire patrol shifts or specialized units like narcotics, traffic, or investigations. You spend most of your day in an office handling paperwork, approving reports, and attending meetings. You rarely respond to calls unless they're catastrophically bad. Promotion to lieutenant requires 8-12 years on the job and surviving even more competitive exams. Only 10 to 15% of sergeants ever make lieutenant. The rest plateau at sergeant and stay there until retirement. Here's what kills lieutenants. You're responsible for everything but control nothing. Your sergeants and officers are making decisions in the field. You're sitting in an office waiting to find out what went wrong. When something does go wrong, and it always does, you're the one explaining it to captains and chiefs. Lieutenants earn decent money for essentially being middle-tier bureaucrats. You're not on the street anymore. You're not making command-level decisions. You're processing paperwork, managing personnel, and hoping your shift doesn't have a viral incident that requires you to write 40 pages of justification for why an officer did what they did. Captain, You're running a precinct or division. Captains run precincts, geographic areas, or major divisions like patrol, investigations, or special operations. You're responsible for staffing, budgets, crime statistics, and community relations. You attend city council meetings, you manage scandals, you're part cop, part politician, part HR manager. Making captain is where politics dominates competence. You need 12-15 years on the job, but connections matter more than test scores. Captains are chosen by chiefs based on loyalty, political skill, and ability to manage public relations disasters. Being good at police work barely matters anymore. Here's the captain's existence. Crime spikes in your precinct. Officer scandal. You're answering to the media. Community protests. You're the face of the department at public forums. You make six figures to be everyone's target when something goes wrong. Captains rarely interact with patrol officers. You're too busy managing other managers. You've been removed from street policing for so long that you barely remember what responding to calls feels like. You're a politician in a uniform, commander/deputy chief. You're almost at the top. Commanders and deputy chiefs are the senior leadership below the chief. They manage captains, set department policy, handle major incidents, and serve as the chief's inner circle. There are usually only 3-5 people at this level in a department. You reach this rank through 15-20 years of service and complete political alignment with the chief. If the chief gets fired or retires, you might get fired too. Your career is tied to whoever's in charge. One administration change, and you're forced into retirement. Here's what deputy chiefs actually do. Manage crises, handle media, attend endless meetings with city officials, review use of force incidents, make policy decisions that affect thousands of officers who you haven't spoken to in years. You're completely disconnected from street policing. You're essentially a corporate executive who happens to wear a badge. The pay is good. The stress is insane. Every controversial incident lands on your desk. Every political decision requires your input. You're making $135,000 to be the buffer between the chief and everyone else. Chief of police. You're a political appointee who commands everything. The chief is appointed by the mayor or city manager. You serve at their pleasure. Make them look good, and you keep your job. Embarrass them, and you're fired. You might have 25 years of police experience, or you might be an outsider brought in to reform the department. Either way, your job is politics. Here's what chiefs actually do. Set departmental vision and policy. Manage budgets, often $200 million to $500 million annually. Handle political pressure from mayors to city councils and community activists. Face media during every major incident. Make decisions that affect thousands of officers while rarely interacting with any of them. Chiefs earn massive salaries, $200,000 plus in major cities, but the average tenure is only 3-5 years. One major scandal, one political shift, one controversial incident that goes viral, and you're forced to resign. The job is high-paying but brutally unstable. And here's the ultimate irony. The chief hasn't done street police work in 15-20 years. They're making policy decisions about patrol tactics, use of force, and community engagement based on memories from decades ago. The officers actually doing the work think the chief is completely disconnected from reality. They're usually right. Here's the brutal math. A department with 1,000 officers might have 800 patrol officers, 100 detectives, 80 sergeants, 15 lieutenants, 4 captains, 2 deputy chiefs, and 1 chief. That means 90% of officers will retire at patrol rank or sergeant. They'll never run a unit, never command a precinct, never shape department policy. They'll spend 25 years responding to the same calls, writing the same reports, and making the same salary with minimal increases. The 10% who promote face their own nightmare. More responsibility for marginally more money, more blame when things go wrong, more politics, more bureaucracy, less actual police work. Many promoted officers privately wish they'd stayed on patrol. And SWAT operators get the worst deal of all. They volunteer for the most dangerous assignments, undergo the hardest training, risk their lives on high-risk warrants, and make barely more than regular patrol. They're the ones investigated. When operations succeed, command takes credit. The system is designed to exploit the bottom while protecting the top. Patrol officers face the danger. Chiefs face the politics. The pay gap doesn't reflect the risk gap. And the officers who actually know how to do police work are usually too junior to influence policy. That's every rank in police and SWAT explained. From the patrol officer making $45,000 chasing armed suspects at 2 a.m. to the chief making $200,000 managing political fallout from an office. From the SWAT operator breaching doors during hostage situations to the commander approving operations from a safe distance. Different ranks, different risks, different worlds, same badge. The hierarchy that determines who faces the bullets and who faces the press conferences.